Sam Howell, Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, Jayden Daniels, you name it. All these people could soon be impacted by what the Commanders do with the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the Commanders having a huge decision to make with the number 2 overall pick. Although the Commanders already have a young quarterback in Sam Howell, it seems as if they are going to move on from him at the quarterback position. If the Commanders end up making that decision, they have options to take at quarterback, as those names include Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, and Jayden Daniels. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. Should the Commanders take a quarterback with the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft? It's pretty simple in my mind. If I was their general manager, I would absolutely not take a quarterback in this year's draft if I was that organization. However, I have doubts they will actually go ahead and follow that. Why? Because you have to look at the coaching staff that the Commanders have assembled, and obviously their coaching staff looks like they want to go all in on Caleb Williams. The thing is though, they're not actually in position to take Caleb Williams because right now they have the number 2 overall pick. The Chicago Bears, on the other hand, have the number 1 overall pick. They right now have the rights to take Caleb Williams first overall if they go ahead and wish to do so. I don't believe the Chicago Bears will end up taking Caleb Williams. I believe they're going to trade back with the number 1 overall pick. I would be very surprised if they did that. I know a lot of reports are saying that the Chicago Bears are not looking to trade down in the 2024 NFL Draft. If I was their general manager, I would absolutely make a trade down with their draft selection because I don't think Caleb Williams is as good as what people are hyping him up to be. I've heard people say that Caleb Williams is a generational talent, but I believe that he is a generational diva. I believe Caleb Williams will not live up to the hype that a lot of people in the mainstream media have been raving about. This guy lacks basic leadership skills, and this guy is a horrible teammate, and more importantly, this guy never even won a Pac-12 title at USC. They call him a generational talent, but how can you be a generational talent at the quarterback position when you never even won anything at the collegiate level? Yeah, I know he won games against bad football teams, but when he actually played against top 25 competition, he got exposed and he did not look like a generational talent whatsoever. I've seen guys like Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow do way more at the collegiate level than Caleb Williams. Obviously, I would not take Caleb Williams number 1 overall. If I was an NFL GM, I would try to make a generational draft trade where I would end up getting a bunch of assets in return so that guy can take Caleb Williams and fall for the sucker. But I don't believe that's going to happen. We'll see what happens with that though. I'm kind of pretty intrigued to see how that whole process is going to play out. Of course, the Commanders have the number 2 overall pick. Obviously, if I'm their general manager, I'm going to trade back in the 2024 NFL Draft, or if I'm going to stay at 2, I'm going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. I really like what he has shown on tape. I like his abilities as a wide receiver. This guy is a virtually no bust rate. This guy's the ultimate safe pick, and more importantly, he has a very high ceiling. This guy reminds me a lot of Larry Fitzgerald when I watch him play. Obviously, Larry Fitzgerald is one of the greatest receivers in the game of football, and Marvin Harrison Jr. already has the genes to prove that he can be a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Just look at his dad, Marvin Harrison, when he played for the Indianapolis Colts. So he already has a lot of NFL experience from his dad, and more importantly, I love his abilities. I like his ability to catch anything that goes his way. I like his ability to get open, and he's just a tall, physical receiver. There's really no weaknesses in Marvin Harrison Jr. When you watch Marvin Harrison Jr. play, he is literally the perfect receiver to make. And obviously, if you're the Washington Commanders, you can never have enough receivers to help a young quarterback play. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to help Sam Howell out so much in terms of having that quarterback to wide receiver connection. And honestly, that wide receiver room for the Commanders would be stacked if they went in that direction. So I absolutely would not mind them if they went in that direction, because you look at how, if they take Marvin Harrison Jr., they're going to have a room of Marvin Harrison Jr., Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and possibly Curtis Samuel. They bring him back. That's 4 deep at wide receiver. That's about as good as it gets in the modern NFL. So that's definitely something for the Commanders to consider. But if you want to trade back from pick 2, I would absolutely have no problem with that. I actually think that's the ideal scenario for the Commanders because they need to trade back, get a future first round pick or something like that. Maybe even get 2 future first round picks. Then you can get into the 2025 NFL Draft with multiple first round picks. And if you don't like Sam Howell by then, guess what? You can use one of those picks to replace Sam Howell. And Shedeur Sanders is coming out of the draft in that year. So we'll see if the Commanders go go ahead and use that selection if they follow my advice. So I think there's a lot of benefits to trading back, because you can trade back with a team like the Atlanta Falcons and still get a really good offensive lineman. This is supposedly a deep draft class for offensive linemen, and the Commanders obviously need offensive linemen in the worst way possible. They have the worst O-line in the entire league. If they get more protection for Sam Howell, that's going to help him out in terms of finding his open receiver, and more importantly, that's going to open up rushing lanes for Brian Robinson Jr., who's already a pretty good running back in his own right. So I think the Commanders, they need to build the team around Sam Howell. To move off of him because he hit a rough stretch of games would be a massive mistake to make. I was pretty high on Sam Howell heading into the year, and he showed flashes of being a really good quarterback in the National Football League. The dude led the league in passing for 2/3 of the season. You look at how the guy made an 18-point comeback against the Denver Broncos. You look at how he threw the game-tying touchdown against the Eagles the first time. You also look at how Sam Howell threw for 397 yards against the Eagles the second time around. You also look at how he threw the game-tying touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks. They probably should have won that game if their defense showed up. And that's just some of the examples of how Sam Howell can be a really good quarterback in the National Football League. Obviously, I compared Sam Howell to Brett Favre coming out of the draft, and I think you guys can see where some of that comes from, because Sam Howell is a gamer. Sam Howell is a baller. Sam Howell is a guy that takes chances with a football in his hands, and that's a quarterback I could absolutely work with. I think the Commanders need to build this team around Sam Howell. This guy is going to be a really good quarterback if they stick with the process. The dumbest thing the Commanders could do right now is trade up to pick 1 and pick Caleb Williams with the #1 overall pick, because they want to sell tickets in Washington, D.C. because of the fact that Caleb Williams is a hometown hero. If that was to happen, I believe that would be a massive mistake by the organization if they took Caleb Williams #1 overall, particularly considering the fact that their price is extremely high to move up from 2 to 1, and that the Bears are looking for something like 3 first-round picks probably, and a really good player. So obviously, if you're the Commanders, don't do that deal. But I think they're going to end up doing that deal. I'm afraid that they're going to do it. I don't think they should, but I think they will end up doing it, and they're going to take Caleb Williams, because right now that organization is desperate to sell tickets. And if you want to sell tickets, you have to get Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams is box office. I'm not saying that Caleb Williams isn't interesting. He certainly is. I just don't think it's a good move for the organization to make. I don't think Caleb Williams is going to live up to the hype on the Washington Commanders. And then, of course, there's also Drake Maye or Jayden Daniels at pick 2. I think it would be extremely awkward if the Washington Commanders picked Drake Maye with the #2 overall pick, considering the fact that they already have Sam Howell on the roster. Why does that matter? Because Sam Howell and Drake Maye were teammates at UNC. Drake Maye and Sam Howell played the same position, and more importantly, they're good buddies. If you take a guy like Drake Maye #2 overall, that's going to create some awkward moments in the quarterback room. Obviously, they're going to have a conflict of interest. I'm sure Sam Howell wants Drake Maye to be really good at the NFL level, and I'm sure Drake Maye wants Sam Howell to be really good at the NFL level as well. I would not be surprised if Drake Maye told his agent, hey, I don't want to play for the Washington Commanders. Make me go to another team. I'd rather go to the Patriots than take my friend's starting job away from the Commanders. So I could see a situation like that arising. And then, of course, there's Jayden Daniels. I'm really high on him. I like his game a lot. He reminds me of a mix of Lamar Jackson and prime Deshaun Watson. The guy throws it like Deshaun Watson, but he runs the ball like Lamar Jackson. That's a really good combo to have. He's going to be an elite player for years to come. Just get that guy in O-line. I don't think the Commanders should take Jayden Daniels. I don't think they're in position to get a guy like him. They need to build the offensive line first, because they're not a quarterback away from contention. Just keep building the team around Sam Howell. See what happens. I think Sam Howell's going to be a fine quarterback in the National Football League. I don't think they're going to end up doing it, though. I believe that they will end up trading up to the first pick, considering the fact that they want to make some splash moves because of the new ownership. They're probably going to give up something like Terry McLaurin, the #2 overall pick. They're going to give up a second-round pick. That's the number 36 overall pick. And then they're going to give up a 2025 first-round pick and a 2026 first-round pick. So I think they could give up 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and Terry McLaurin in order to move up for the #1 overall spot and take Caleb Williams. I believe that's what they will end up doing. I don't think they should do that. I think what they should do is either take Marvin Harrison Jr. if they don't want to trade back, or that if they do want to trade back, they need to trade back with a team like the Atlanta Falcons or the Minnesota Vikings and let them take a quarterback in the 2024 NFL draft. I think the Washington Commanders need to prioritize building an actual team around Sam Howell, because this dude can play at a high level in the NFL. I know he had a rough stretch to finish out the year, but he played really good those first 10 games, and I saw a lot of promise watching Sam Howell play. This guy was something special in the making. This dude is a gamer. He is a baller. He is a shot caller. That's what Sam Howell is all about. Obviously, the Washington Commanders have a big decision to make. They have to nail this decision down correctly, because if they don't nail down this decision decision correctly, it's going to get Dan Quinn fired, and it's going to make Cliff Kingsbury look like a joke of an offensive coordinator. And that's one of the main reasons why I believe Caleb Williams will end up being a Washington Commander. It's because of the fact that he already has a strong relationship with Cliff Kingsbury. So I could definitely see something like that happening. Do I think they should go in that route? Absolutely not, but we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully I get proven wrong and that the Commanders do indeed build the team around Sam Howell. So that is why the Commanders should not take a quarterback with the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. However, I believe that the Commanders will end up taking a quarterback with either the second pick or trading up to the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, as they will try to get a quarterback at all costs. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and that Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.